From a homeless sand mine laborer of Thailand to a $1 billion empire in only 6 years, this man's journey is pure war. In the mid-2010s, in a quiet town in northern Thailand, a 25-year-old man named Santi spent his days knee-deep in dust at a sand quarry. His daily pay was barely enough to cover food and rent, yet every month he would set aside a small portion for his mother and younger brother back in their village. That December, after weeks of saving, he bought a tin of cookies for his mother as a New Year's gift. But at the courier counter, the clerk told him the shipping fee was a flat 50 baht, more than Santi had in his pocket. He even tried removing cookies until only 3 were left, hoping it would be cheaper, but the rule was the same: minimum rate or nothing. Deflated, he walked away with the gift still in hand. On his way back, he noticed a large banner, an open lecture by one of Thailand's most successful businessmen, Mr. Kanan. Out of curiosity, Santi went inside. Kanan spoke about his journey from poverty to wealth, how he took bold risks, and how the real winners in business are those who claim the market first. Money is everywhere, Kanan said. You just need the eyes to see it. Santi didn't fully understand, but something in those words struck him. The next morning at work, a longtime buyer tried to force the sand price down, threatening to buy elsewhere. That's when Santi connected the dots: control the supply, and you control the price. Over the next few days, he convinced neighboring sand pits to sign exclusive agreements, creating a local monopoly. When the buyer returned, Santi calmly told him, "We can't sell at your price anymore. The new rate is higher, and if you go elsewhere, you'll end up paying even more for transport." The buyer reluctantly agreed. The deal brought in record profits, and Santi's boss offered him a huge salary bump and a managerial position. But Santi turned it down. "I don't just want a good job," he said. "I want my own empire." Seeing his determination, the boss advanced him a large sum to start something on his own. Santi moved to Bangkok, where he briefly worked in a travel agency catering to Chinese tourists. The work was steady, but the pay wasn't life-changing. After a few months, he learned something that stung. Those who worked the hardest weren't always the ones earning the most. One afternoon, he crossed paths with Jimmy, a sharply dressed man in designer shoes, greeting a VIP group at the hotel lobby. Years ago, Jimmy had been just another travel agent like Santi. Now, he drove a brand new car and carried himself like someone who had cracked the code to wealth. "How did you pull this off?" Santi asked him over coffee. "I'm in real estate now," Jimmy said, leaning back. "I sell high-end apartments to wealthy Chinese clients. One sale and I make more than you earn in a year." Santi's mind lit up. "I meet dozens of rich tourists every month. I can sell for you." Jimmy shook his head. "These aren't ordinary sales. The units go for over 10 million baht each. You can't just hand out brochures and expect a sale." But Santi wasn't the type to back down. "Give me a chance," he pressed. Eventually, he made a bold move. He poured nearly all the money he had, a full 1 million baht, into partnering with Jimmy. A few days later, his first VIP client arrived, a wealthy businessman traveling with his young girlfriend. Santi was hired to translate for them, but the moment he tried slipping in an apartment pitch, the man cut him short. "Do what I hired you for, no more, no less." Later that evening, the girlfriend pulled Santi aside. In a half-joking tone, she said she might help him sell if he could bring her a lipstick in a rare shade she'd been searching for. That's how Santi found himself chasing across Bangkok until he spotted the exact color on a stranger's lips.
"I need to use some lipstick."
The woman refused at first.
"You serious? Lipstick is personal."
But after some persistence, she agreed, at double the price.
"And I'll sell it for 3,000.
Santi didn't even have enough cash on him, so he gave her an advance, just for the excuse to meet her again later. Before that could happen, the businessman asked Santi to stick around for the night's private arrangements. In return, he promised to introduce Santi to his wealthy friends abroad. Santi hesitated, but agreed, if it meant a chance to close deals. A week later, he flew to China for the man's lavish birthday party. Inside the grand hall, Santi was stunned to spot Mr. Kanan, the very entrepreneur whose words had once ignited his ambition. Kanan recognized him faintly but simply said, "If you're here, you're on the right track." Introductions to the rich guests followed, but sales weren't happening.
"My friend is unhappy."
Finally, the businessman smirked and tossed down a challenge. "1 shot for every apartment you want me to buy. 40 shots. If you finish, I'll take them all." The room erupted. Bets were placed. Santi began drinking, determined to push through. At 10 shots, his head spun. At 20, his hands shook. At 30, he blacked out cold, and the dream deal slipped away. The next morning, he called the businessman, hoping it had been enough. "You didn't make it," came the reply. This mean no sale. But then came an odd request. "Send me my dog's food bowl. I left it behind." At the courier shop in China, Santi's eyes widened. Shipping the bowl cost barely half of what he'd pay in Thailand for the same weight. That moment sparked something deep inside him. If he could bring that kind of low-cost delivery model to Thailand, he might just have found his next big idea. At Bangkok's airport, Santi spotted a familiar face in the business lounge. Mr. Kanan, the man whose words had once lit the spark in him. "I like your drive," Kanan said warmly. "Come work for me. First-class ticket, good salary."
"I'd like to know you more. Maybe work together."
Santi smiled but shook his head. I'm done working for other people.
I'm done.
I have something better, an idea Thailand has never seen.
Tell me about it.
When pressed, he hesitated. If I tell you, you might start it yourself. Kanan grinned. Tell me, and I'll buy all 40 of your apartments. Santi leaned in. Sending a small package here costs at least 50 baht. In China, it's half that, and faster. They've mastered logistics with tech, scale, and systems we don't have. If I can partner with a Chinese courier company, we could launch the first low-cost nationwide delivery network in Thailand. If we cut the price to 25 baht, the market is ours. Kanan's eyes lit up. Done right, this could be worth billions. He agreed to invest and connect Santi with Easy Express, one of China's largest delivery firms. When the Easy Express delegation arrived in Thailand, one face hit Santi like a jolt. Zhao, the lipstick girl who once walked out of his life. She was now the CFO. Cold and skeptical, she dissected his numbers. To make the market look bigger, Santi secretly paid locals to bring in fake parcels for her tour. But Zhao caught him and delayed the deal. Kanan's advice was blunt. You only made one mistake, getting caught. Offer her a top role, and if that fails, bribe her. He handed Santi a check worth millions. Before he could act, Santi's younger brother was arrested in a street fight. The harsh exchange that followed, his brother accusing him of being, just like dad, always absent, hit harder than any deal gone bad. That night, instead of offering a bribe, Santi went to Xiao and told the truth. He apologized, admitting he'd faked the numbers because he believed in the market so much. Something in his sincerity broke through her defenses. The next morning, Xiao signed. Easy Express would take 51%, Kanan 30%, and Santi 19%. The launch was a success, until Santi discovered Kanan had invested more capital behind his back, shrinking Santi's stake to just 1.9% and handing the CEO role to his son, Ken. Santi's fury boiled over. You stole my idea and gave it to your idiot son, he spat in Kanan's face at the press conference. Business is about control, not credit, Kanan replied coolly. Santi walked out and immediately began building a rival company, one that would crush Kanan's. He flew to Shanghai to recruit Ruiji, a brilliant but burned tech founder. After rejecting Kanan Group's offer, Ruiji joined Santi, impressed by his relentlessness but kept his equity demand modest, 30%. Weeks later, Xiao shocked Santi again. She wanted in. Her father's massive debt had put her family at risk, and she was willing to work without a salary in exchange for 5% equity. The trio founded Thunder Express, operating out of a small rented hotel floor. The plan, Thailand's first true door-to-door courier service. No more customers lugging boxes to depots. Motorbike couriers would collect packages from homes and deliver them straight to recipients. On launch day, orders poured in, 4,000 packages. But victory soured quickly. Most were fakes, addressed to foreclosed properties filled with bricks. Ken's sabotage was clear.
These are all fake!
Santi countered by building a blacklist of every vacant property in the country, blocking fraudulent shipments instantly. Then, he went on the offensive, undercutting Kanan Group's prices, poaching clients in person, even setting up sales booths right outside Kanan's offices. Within a month, Thunder Express's client base exploded. Kanan Group bled contracts, and Ken fired staff in frustration. But Kanan wasn't done. Using political muscle, he had Thunder offices shut down over regulatory issues. Santi responded by opening new ones nearby, twice as many, twice as fast. Then came his boldest move yet, slashing rates from 25 baht to 19, permanently. Xiao protested, warning it would burn their cash in 4 months. But Santi saw only one path forward, own the market at any cost. Santi's 19 baht delivery gamble sent shockwaves through the courier industry. But inside Thunder Express, the mood was tense. Xiao was furious. At this price, we won't even cover costs. 4 months, Santi. That's all we have before we're bankrupt. He told her to trust him. We'll find investors in that time. That's not a plan, she snapped. That's blind faith. Still, she didn't want the company to collapse, so she moved fast, cutting budgets and ordering salary reductions to buy a couple more months of life. Ruiji opposed cutting his tech team's pay. Others were angry, especially the delivery riders. Some quit, others staged strikes. Even Santi's younger brother turned against him, refusing to break the strike lines. The pressure mounted. Employees stole fuel. One of the culprits was Santi's childhood friend. I have a family to feed, the man pleaded. But Santi refused. If I forgive you, the rest will do the same. His brother argued, but Santi stood firm. Discipline was survival. Then came a blow from months earlier. The video of Santi burning fake parcels leaked online. Kanan's media contacts spun it into a scandal. Thunder handles your packages recklessly. News crews swarmed the office. Some journalists were on Kanan's payroll, hammering him with hostile questions until Santi lost his temper on camera. Public trust plunged. That night drained, Santi sat slumped in a dark office corner. Dropping prices was a mistake. My overconfidence. It's killing us. Xiao knelt beside him. As long as you keep fighting, they haven't won. If you give up, we all lose. The next evening, he returned to his car. A single bullet lay on the hood with a note. This is what your life is worth. Days later, opportunity knocked. Melli, Thailand's biggest e-commerce platform, announced they would choose a single exclusive courier partner for next year. All major companies were secretly tested. Each had to deliver a box of 4 delicate champagne glasses intact. One by one, CEOs opened their boxes. Only 5 companies passed, Thunder Express and Canon Group among them. The final challenge was set. November 11th, Asia's largest online sale. The courier delivering the most parcels with the highest customer satisfaction would win the contract. It was hope, but also a trap. Thunder was bleeding cash. They needed at least 100 million baht to last until the competition. They turned to investor Mrs. Wang. She agreed, but only if they gave her another 15% equity. Santi refused. Banks rejected them. Then Canon strolled into the office, smug. I've seen your books. You'll be gone in months. I'll buy you out now for 20% above market value. Santi's reply was ice cold. You'll need 10 times that to get me, and if you lose 11/11ths, you'll be the one selling. Later, Zhao told him the harsh truth. No loans. No investors. We can't make it to November 11th. Canon's offer might be our only way to walk away alive. Santi snapped. If you want to quit, fine. Go get married, leave the fight to me. Her eyes flared. I didn't come here for money. I came because I believed in this, but I won't watch it die without doing something. The next day, Xiao met Mrs. Wang alone. She sold her own 5% stake for 34 million baht, not for herself, but to fund Thunder until November. She returned and placed the check on Santi's desk. This is all I have. Use it to win. Santi stared at her, guilt flooding in. I misjudged you, she said softly. I trust you. Whether we win or lose, I'm staying until November 11th. After that, my life is my own again. That night, she called her fiancé in China. I've been here all along, she admitted. Wait for me just a little longer. After November 11th, no matter what happens, I'll come home and marry you. Months of tension boiled down to a single chance. Santi quietly called in only his most trusted people and laid out his secret plan. Thailand's first nationwide 24-hour delivery service. No one else has done this, he said. Order today, receive it tomorrow. This is how we win the Melli contract. But even in a circle that small, there was a traitor. Linux, a skilled programmer whose mother's medical care was funded by Ken, Canon's son, was secretly feeding Thunder's strategies to Canon Group. She hated herself for it, but Ken promised to send her mother abroad for treatment if she sabotaged Thunder when the time came. Midnight struck, and November 11th began.
Launch the campaign.
Orders surged past anything they'd seen before. Thunder's campaign went live, minutes ahead of Canon Group, and by midday, they were ahead. 83,000 orders to Canon's 77,000. That's when Ken made his move. He called Linux. Now, take them down. She deleted the warehouse conveyor belt's control code, freezing the sorting system. Ruiji estimated it would take 20 hours to rebuild, and they had only 5. Santi refused to give in. We'll sort them by hand. He told everyone to call friends, family, neighbors, anyone willing to help. He offered 1,000 baht for the day. When Xiao protested they had no cash, Santi answered, I'll sell my car if I have to. Guilt consumed Linux. Ruiji, unaware of her betrayal, apologized for being too hard on her and promised to visit her mother after the win. In tears, she confessed what she'd done. Santi, furious but unwilling to call the police, told her to leave. Hours later, they'd sorted every parcel, but had no trucks. Ken had bribed local truck companies to cancel Thunder's rentals, leaving the vehicles parked uselessly in Canon's lot. With no choice, Santi split the loads. Local deliveries went on multiple courier bike runs. Distant shipments would be flown by cargo plane. Xiao revealed she had quietly saved an emergency reserve to cover the cost. They rushed to the airport, but Ken's moles inside Thunder tipped him off. A surprise police checkpoint stopped them, with license checks, drug tests, and missing truck documents eating away precious time. One driver tested positive for alcohol. Another setup. Santi spotted him hiding the truck's papers under his shirt. Realizing he was also a Canon plant, Santi yanked the papers free, handed them to police, and took the wheel himself. On the way, disaster struck. A car slammed into his truck in a staged collision, parcels scattered in the rain. Santi dragged himself out, gathering what he could, when a group of Thunder's mountain region riders, old friends from his past, appeared. They loaded packages onto their bikes and tore through the storm to the airport. Ken tried one last strike, bribing the airline to remove Thunder's cargo from Flight 186. But when the doors opened, there was almost nothing inside. Ken realized too late it had been a decoy. The real shipment was already airborne on Flight FA-184. A number Santi had given only to Xiao to root out the leaks. The next morning, in another province, Santi personally delivered packages until exhaustion dropped him on the street. He woke in a hospital, grabbed a nurse's tablet, and checked the results. Thunder Express had won. They delivered the most parcels with the highest ratings, securing Melly's exclusive contract for the next year. Celebrations erupted across the company. Kanan's Chinese partners cut ties. Ken resigned, admitting he wasn't cut out for the business. Thunder's victory made Santi one of the richest men in Thailand. He became the face of the nation's largest delivery network. Yet, not everyone stayed. Xiao left quietly after November 11th, returning to China, marrying, and starting a family. Years later, Santi visited her, handing her a check for $200 million, her share. "Pay off your father's debts. Live free," he said. His old boss saw his photo in the paper, proud of the boy who once worked for daily wages. His mother finally learned the truth. She'd always believed he was just an employee. "I'm proud of you," she told him. In the final chapter, Santi visited Kanan, now retired. Though once bitter rivals, they shook hands as men who had both built empires from nothing. And so, from the dust of a sandpit to the helm of a billion-dollar company, Santi's journey came full circle. Thunder Express stood as Thailand's top delivery service, proof that hunger, vision, and relentless will can outlast any opponent.